Welcome. In this video, I'm going to show you how we can use the built-in accessibility tools that exist in Google Docs and Google Slides to make learning more accessible for our students. We're going to start things off by looking at Google Docs. With this, I'm going to click here to open up a new Google Doc. We'll look at how we can use voice to text, how we can use translation tools, and finally, how we can bring search directly into our doc in order to help with our processing. So up at the top, I've already opened up a new Google Doc, and in here, the first thing I want to do is go to Tools and Voice Typing. When I do this, you'll notice that I have a drop-down arrow where I can pick what input language I want. I speak English in the US, but we have students who speak many different languages, and most of those would be available in this drop-down menu. When I'm ready, I'm going to click the microphone icon. First, I'm going to make my text a little bit bigger so that we can definitely see it. One of my favorite reasons to use speech to text or voice typing is that it allows our students who have amazing ideas in their head to be able to get it down on that intimidating blank piece of paper, period. This is an incredibly helpful resource when it comes to brainstorming, summarizing what we've just read, or simply coming up with what questions we want to ask, period. New paragraph. Why would we ever want to keep such an amazing, simple tool from our students, ? So with this, you can see that I was able to speak, and it does punctuation. It allows for new paragraphs. Anything that it was unsure of, it underlines, so I know I can go back to review. And one of the great things about this is our students can use it pretty simply. My son, who is currently 8, uses this to start writing his papers, and then we go back and we add punctuation and edit afterwards. But he's been using it since he was 4 to ask questions and spark inquiry as we explore his passions. Some other things that I love within Google Docs, we're going to go back to Tools and Translate Document. When I do Translate Document, again, I get the option of many of these same languages that we saw before, and I can pick what language I want it to go to. For this, I'll go to Spanish, but you'll notice we have many languages: Swahili, Somali, Sudanese, many languages that we have in our schools. I'm clicking Translate, and in just a moment, it opened up a new tab, and we will see that those 2 paragraphs have been translated for me. Very simple. And again, I can go back and maybe work with an ESOL specialist to make sure it's exactly what I want. But this at least starts to bridge the gap to be able to meet our students' needs. Again, super easy. I've worked with some teachers who will go in and make 4 copies of the classroom materials that they want to use in order to meet all of their learners' needs. And I love that. The final part that I want to show you within Google Docs is down here. And in many of our Google tools, you'll see that there's a button in the bottom right called the Explore tool, and this is magic, okay? So within this, I can search for whatever my topic is. Right now, my son is researching animals, and he is going to do ostriches. So I'm going to type here, ostrich. And directly within here, I get all of my Google results. Now this is pretty helpful. Not only do I get an initial card here, but I can see these results. It limits the number of tabs we have open at the top, which allows our students to stay focused on the content at hand, which is always a big win, but there's more. So with this, if I end up using this article, I can just simply click Cite as Footnote, and down at the bottom of my page, it is now put it into a citation for me, which is very helpful. All right, so I'm going to bounce back to my slides, and now we're going to move on to Google Slides and some of the accessibility features that are built in here. So at this point, I'll open a new tab and go to slides.new. And when I'm in here, we have our blank slides, and we're going to go ahead and get started running through some of these great accessibility features that are here too. The first one that I want to showcase is Insert. When we go to insert, there are a number of types of content that we can add in here. Some of my favorite include being able to add images and that we can do it with the camera. So if our student does their work on a physical piece of paper, then they can hold it up, take a picture, insert, and now we have that work in here and we're able to expand what our learning looks like beyond simply, well, right now a lot of us are doing virtual learning, so all of our materials have to be digital. No, it doesn't have to happen that way. We can take pictures of physical things that our kids have worked on. We also have things like audio, and I can record my directions and then simply go and add them to my slides so that I can have spoken explanations of what I want my students to do. They can replay it. We can tell stories this way, and you'll notice that we get these options on the right of does it play automatically, does it loop, things like that. We also have the option of video, and this is a great way to take that even further. So maybe I run through the entire activity by doing a screen recording and put that into my slides on the first page so that my students can then see me explain, well, how do I complete this work? Answer some of the questions that I might expect would pop up. So I can pull things in from Google Drive or from YouTube. So right now I'm going to find a video that I've added to Google Drive. Hopefully it will load kind of quickly. But it's super easy to be able to do that. The final part that I want to showcase in terms of the type of content that you can add in here is, again, going to insert and now diagram. And when we do that, on the right-hand side, you'll notice that we have 6 different options for types of diagrams we can add. One of the most common ones that I've helped support teachers with, and I'll make a new page for this, is timeline. When I select timeline, you'll notice that I have a few different views of what a timeline could look like. I can pick how many dates that I want them to use. I'm going to do 5. What color scheme do I want? I'll do this purple. And now when I select, it's going to bring in that entire diagram for me. And I could create and maybe add certain years in here or events. And then my students could go in. Maybe I'm using Google Classroom if I'm elementary, or maybe I'm using Schoology. And my students could go in and add the details about that event. This could be a great review activity or kind of a KWL. What do we already know about these topics? But again, very easy to get that content to our students. So again, there are lots of ways that we can use accessibility directly built into Google Docs and Google Slides. I think that it's incredibly helpful to make our content as visual and meet as many modalities for our students as we possibly can.